And now, I have saved the best for last. Don't, take note of this just yet. That will be important later, and I'll explain why later. So, we have had the same narrator introduce these starting zones every time. The same voice actor who voiced King Tyrannus. I don't remember his name, sadly. However, this time we are going to have a different voice as the narrator to introduce this starting zone, and it is one of the greatest voice actors of all time. You may know him as Pete from Goof Troop and Kingdom Hearts. You may also know him as Winnie the Pooh. Ladies and gentlemen, to introduce the Pandaren starting zone, the one, the only, Mr. Jim Cummings.
You are a Pandaren, born and raised on the mysterious Wandering Isle. While many of your fellow Pandaren prefer a tranquil life, the lure of adventure burns in your blood. Recently, the Wandering Isle has begun erratically weaving about the world's oceans. The air grows cold, and your island home is spiraling toward disaster. As one of the most promising of students at Master Shang's monastery, you may just be the salvation for your people. But first, you must complete your training.
So yeah. I mean, do I even really need to sing the praises of Jim Cummings? He is amazing. He really is one of the most acclaimed and greatest voice actors of all time. So, fun little fact. I actually worked to try and get a specific title that I thought could work well with this starting zone. But unfortunately, I still can't use it at level 1. However, I actually think the Explorer is actually an appropriate title for this character because, well, it just kind of fits with the whole idea that we are a Pandaren who will be leaving the Wandering Isles to explore the world. Because that's what a number of the... it gave me the achievement just for logging into this character. That the Pandaren and the Wandering Isle, which is where we're at, will have a tendency to go explore the world. So, hold on a second. Let me go ahead and start getting our stuff here. By the way, you notice that in the water, right? I'm just going to go ahead and give this away right now because it does kind of keep it a secret until later. But we are on the back of a giant turtle. I'm not kidding. If I look here long enough, you'll see one of his fins just kind of come up out of the water. Because he is, we have this big island that we are on the back of a gigantic turtle. Yeah. Hence the name The Wandering Isle, because, well, he has a tendency to swim around and wander the world. So, I do have something else appropriate for this. A pet that I just recently got that I thought would work really well with this. Behold, the Shah of Happiness. Probably can't tell. Yeah, he's supposed to be smiling there. So, show that he's happy. There you go. So, you may have seen it just a moment ago. So, yeah. So I want to reiterate this. I said this a little bit. There's the fin. I want to reiterate this. I love Mists of Pandaria. I love this expansion. I love the Pandaren people. I know a lot of people make fun, make jokes, Kung Fu Panda and all that crap and garbage. And I get so sick of it. It gets so tiresome. I'm so tired of hearing all those ridiculous jokes, and they use it simply to mock and make fun of it without actually listing actual reasons why they don't like it. They just want to make fun. And it just gets so irritating and tiresome when there are so many positive things that I can list off and others can list off about this expansion. Like the monk class was added for this, which is what we're going to be going through the starting zone as, which, I may not be a high-level player, but I do know of some high-level players that have vouched as this being one of the best and most fun classes that you can play in this game. The Pandaria continent is just gorgeous and beautiful. The starting zone itself is also incredibly beautiful, just fantastic. The lore of the Pandaren people are wonderful. And, I talked about some of the cultures of some of the other races. I love the culture of the Pandaren people. It's one of the things I love about the Pandarens. They're so incredibly polite. They are a wonderful people that just... there's so many things about, like, what they say and how they treat others that I just absolutely adore. So, forgive me, I'm going to be gushing about this starting zone and, many of the things that, we touch upon leading into... It is worth noting, this doesn't take place right before Pandaria. This actually takes place, during Cataclysm, because our Pandaren characters are going to be joining the events of Cataclysm before we end up starting the events of Pandaria. So, this doesn't take place after the events of Cataclysm, the starting zone. It takes place during Cataclysm. That is worth noting, so... Alright, let's also now start to work on getting some stuff. I am going to be, of course, starting this... zone as a Windwalker, since I can't change specs till level 10. However, I will be actually trying to play the rest of this when we get to level 10 as a Brewmaster, because of all the tank specs in this game, the one I have a tendency to struggle playing the most is the Brewmaster. It's just a very difficult tank class to really learn how to play well. By the way, you'll notice I can't use the fist weapon for this because, well, I haven't gotten it yet because I haven't been able to progress in that Brawler's Guild thing. It gets really tough, so I haven't been able to acquire this, so anyways. In fact, hold on a second. Let me go ahead and do this right here. Whoops. This right here. There we go. Okay, so for now, we will be starting off with some stuff for Windwalker. And then we will try and utilize, I do like this appearance. I think I will stick with this one, even though it actually covers his face. But this one does as well, so I don't know. We'll go with that. I do wish there was somewhere nearby I could be able to actually make it where it doesn't cover his head or his face or whatever, so let's go ahead and start to get some of these pieces on. Let's see. I, of course, will change some of these pieces once we actually get to level 10. By the way, something that's important to note, you'll notice here, oh, I can't use this one. I'm not part of the Alliance. Oh, I can't use this one. I'm not part of the Horde. That's because we, at the moment, are not part of any faction. Yes, we are not part of either the Alliance or the Horde. We are neutral right now. And that's important for a couple of things. One, I'm not going to be able to actually... Let me show this to you. I cannot use my chauffeur mount. This is the one and only starting zone I am not able to actually use my chauffeur mount because... You have to be associated with a certain faction so it can know which one to use. But since you're not, it can't let you use it. So if you got tired of me using the chauffeur mount throughout this series, don't worry, I can't use it here anyway. I'm not allowed to, so don't worry about it. That's worth noting. It's also worth noting that a couple things. Pandarens tend to have a difficult time finding good transmogs for them because, well, let's just say some of them, they weren't really designed for Pandarens, you know. So there are some things I could show you here. There are other add-ons I do have, like Wardrobe Helper and Mogget or others, that allow me to look up certain particular types of mogs to try and show you how they would look on a Pandaren, how they just don't really match. Also, the Monk, of course, because they were added in Pandaria, don't have that many actual sets. There are a few I like. I like this one right here. You know, very cool looking. I was able to finish this one. I like this one too. I really like this one as well. Just haven't finished getting the pieces, so... but yeah, because of, especially male Pandarens, the way that they're built, it becomes a little difficult trying to find some good-looking transmogs on them, so... anyways, so let's go ahead and finish working on our heirloom pieces here before we get underway. We actually start off with some small sugarcane stalks, which will help restore our health and let us have a bit of extra agility for 15 minutes. So, I will go over some of the racial buffs and benefits that you get as a Pandaren in just a second. So, we'll just go ahead and grab this for now. There we go. Alright, so since I don't have the fist weapons, you know, I also don't have the rings. I have tried. You have to, like, you know, send your ships out at your garrison in order to actually get some of them. I have not been able to get some of these, so, you know, there are some of these other ones I still haven't gotten. I think I actually could get this trinket, because it's from the Zuldazar dock with the service medals. I just haven't. I have enough, I just haven't actually gotten it yet, so... But at this point, you know, considering the news that has broken out about heirlooms as we head into Shadowlands, they may not be that big a deal anymore anyways. So, look at the amount of trinkets they added in BFA here. I do have this one. I do know that is pretty strong and relevant. Actually, it looks like this one is better, so we'll just go ahead and keep that down there. Go ahead and add that as well. And, of course, I can't use either of these, so we'll just go ahead and add that. And then weapons. I shall go with double hammer, because why not? Alright. So, let us get started and play the Pandaren, though I should also take a moment to perhaps let you know about what is some of the extra story and lore about this place, the Wandering Isle? Well, I'm so glad you asked. It has to do a good chunk with what happened long ago, thousands and thousands of years ago, when the Burning Legion were about to invade, and a emperor by the name of Shao Hao helped create a mist that helped cover and protect Pandaria and its people from the invasion of the Burning Legion. However, 800 years before the opening of the Dark Portal, a particularly bold Pandaren named Liu Lang set out to see what was beyond the mist by setting sail upon the back of a giant sea turtle named Shen Zin Su. As the turtle grew, so did Liu Lang's desire to explore the world. Others joined him, until eventually a whole colony of Pandaren explorers traveled the ocean, living atop of the expansive Wandering Isle, as it became known. Although the Wandering Isle hasn't made landfall in many years, those who live there are still ignited by the spirit of adventure. What's cool about this is that this place actually ends up becoming the order hall for the monks in Legion, and I was just like, yes, you know, when they brought it back, I was absolutely loved it. So this is Master Shengzi.
My time is passing, but your time approaches swiftly.
First You will need a weapon suited to your talents. Retrieve a pair of fist weapons from one of the weapon racks below. Bring them to me, and show me that you know how to equip them properly. They actually changed this. This actually used to say just grab a staff if you were a monk. What's cool is that you would be directed to these weapon racks, and it would direct you to grab just a weapon suited to whatever class you had chosen to play. When you would pick a monk, it would direct you to grab a staff. However, they've recently changed it to grab a couple of fist weapons. What's cool is that the fist weapons are these trainee hand wraps. Now, I don't think visually actually is going to show. Yeah, it doesn't actually show the hand wraps, but the indication that you've wrapped them around your hands simply to use your fists, since monks will have a tendency to just simply use their fists anyway and not their actual weapons.
Where you pass, greatness follows.
A fine weapon. It should suit your needs well. Now, let's put it to use. I would like to observe you putting your new weapon to use, my young student. This will aid me in determining what degree of training will be best suited to your talents. We have many training targets in the training grounds below. Practice your attacks upon them, and return to me once you are feeling comfortable with your new weapon. You know what I wish they would bring back? By the way, I love that. In fact, let me take a moment real quick, because you're probably wondering, well, what do you get as a Pandaren, racial-wise? Well, you get an ability called Quaking Palm. Strikes the target with lightning speed, incapacitating them for 4 seconds, and turns off your attack. So, if you need to put an enemy to sleep for a few seconds, there you are. Bouncy. You take half falling damage. Yep. Epicurean. Your love of food allows you to receive 100% more of the stats from well-fed effects. In fact, let's test that right now. Ignore the fact that I'm trying to eat this through my mask. Yep, agility increased by 2. Alright. What do you say we actually go ahead and, let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, there we go. Even if it's covering the top half of my face, just the fact that I'm eating it through my mask is kind of like a, type of thing. So, anyways. You also get Gourmand. Your cooking skill is increased by 15, which is perfect because, as we come to know, Pandarens are probably some of the most skilled chefs in all of Azeroth. Seriously. There's a whole entire thing of cooking in Pandaren. When you go to Pandaria, and you come to the Valley of the Four Winds, and you go to a place such as this area here, Half Hill, there's an entire thing on cooking there, which will, can get you achievements and titles, and yeah, they have a whole entire thing for cooking there, because Pandarens are just that good at cooking. Inner Peace, this is one of the best ones right here. You earn twice as much rested experience. So if you leave your Pandaren just in a rest zone, he will get twice as much rest experience as other classes would, which is amazing. This makes leveling Pandarens so much faster than other races. Also, there is a thing you can get, a daily thing, as a monk that actually increases the amount of XP you get from beating enemies and doing quests and such by an extra 50%. So you, as a Pandaren monk, are able to level this kind of character like so much faster than others. Now, combine that with the XP buff we have been having over this period of time. Just think about how fast you can level a Pandaren monk during this period of time if you leave your Pandaren in a rest zone and have twice as much rest XP, plus getting the extra buff that monks get from going to their temple. That is an incredible amount of ways to be able to increase the amount of leveling you can do. I'm stumbling over this, trying to explain how much I just love that. People talk about how long it takes. Of course, that'll be less of an issue when we get to Shadowlands. Also, I'm loving seeing this many players actually making brand new Pandaren characters. And I'm bringing that up only because Oh my gosh. Like I was saying before, I got so tired of hearing people just mock and make fun of Pandarans, talking about things like how they only did it because of Kung Fu Panda and they wanted to be popular when that's factually not true because they invented the Pandaren years before Kung Fu Panda was ever created.
It is too far away.
I get so tired of hearing that. And man, the internet exploded with so many stupid comments from, just ridiculous comments from a lot of absurd, different amounts of people. It was so bad. It was so bad. And the monk has continued to be one of the least played classes in the game, partly because people just can't, not associate monks with Pandarans, and many just hated, Pandarans or panda people. They have said so many horrible things about Pandarans. It's just gotten ridiculous, and it's such a shame.
It is good to see you, my student.
Not bad, Papaneeks. You may indeed have chosen the proper path. Good. Let us continue. Facing a living opponent is a very different thing from the stationary targets in the yard. Living opponents strike back. There is the very real fear of failure, and sometimes even death. You must have the courage to overcome those fears, challenge the other trainees within the temple, or down the steps below, and defeat them.
So right away we see a couple of different types of trainees. The Hojin, which are colored red.
My skills are no match for yours. I admit defeat.
And then we have the Tushui, which are colored blue. Can you kind of get an idea as to what's going on here? You fought well. I must learn from you in the future. Oh, and I also forgot. Pandarans, of course, have one of the best dances in the game. There we go, that's my favorite part right there. Oh, also, I'm gonna turn this up. Because, forgive me, I adore the music of Miss Pandaria. I love the music so much. I have never seen a trainee with skills such as yours. I must tell the others. So that's the incapacitate. That was a good match, thank you.
That was a good fight. You fought well. I must learn more from you in the future.
You know what's one of the things I love? You fight honorably, friend. When you go to the temple for the daily thing I mentioned, every time you face a trainer to get the daily, before you have to fight them in order to earn the buff, they always say, bow to me, let us bow before each other before the fight, and then we shall fight. They always want to bow, they will bow to you, and you will bow to them at the same time before the fight. Just simply wishing each other, fight well. May you be an honorable opponent. And it's just it's a bit of extra flavor to the whole class thing about a monk that I just absolutely love.
Forget injuries. Never forget kindnesses.
That right there, that's one of the things I love about Pandarens. They have these little phrases, and yeah, some of them can sound like they're coming from like a fortune cookie or whatever, but I just love them. And that's one of my favorite things that they can say is, forget injuries. Never forget kindnesses. It's one of those things that just helps sum up the Pandaren people that I just absolutely love. By the way, I love his staff. It's got a lamp on it. It's just a little lamp on it. It's just great.
Intriguing, my young pupil. Most of the other trainees have been here for quite some time, but you are able to match them even within this first hour. This speaks well of you, but there are yet other lessons I would see you learn. Every wisdom has a time and place, and times are changing for those of us living here on Shenzhen Su. For this lesson, I would ask two things of you. For the first, I hold a flame in my hand. Gather your wits, and when you think you are ready, attempt to snatch the flame. Should you succeed, I want you to then climb to the top of the temple and burn the Edict of Temperance that you find there.
So we immediately grab the flame. We don't even have to actually try to grab it. We just immediately grab it. You can even see it like in our hand there. Our hand is glowing because we're holding the fire in our hand. So the funny thing is, like, you can equip weapons, but you'll usually see monks not really use their weapons. They're more so what were called stat sticks back in the days of, like, Burning Crusade, where they're not necessarily using the weapon. It's just there to help increase their stats, because monks will have a tendency to use their fists rather than the actual weapons they have equipped.
Our greatest trials yet lay before us.
The fact that you were able to snatch the flame so easily is no small feat. The Edict of Temperance is a scroll of wisdom passed down from my elders' elders. Wisdom from a more peaceful time. Every lesson has its time and place, and with darkness on the horizon, the time for this particular wisdom has passed. The burning of the scroll is an acceptance of tidings to come, and a promise to action. Your hand carried the flame, and I suspect that it will continue to do so in the future. Papaneeks, I see great strength and great courage in you, and an unsurpassed purity of soul. The hour is young, but I think you may be ready to face a greater challenge. Go to the bottom of the stairs and cross the bridge. There you will find Jiaomin Ro, one of our eldest students. Challenge and defeat him in honorable combat, and this first phase of your training will be complete.
So yeah, get used to seeing my Pandaren doing a lot of running around, since we won't be able to use the chauffeur mount. However, we will get some extra mobility later. I hope you're ready, Papaneeks. Jiaomin Ro awaits you just over the bridge.
A challenger approaches. May you be an honorable opponent.
So now we get Blackout Kick, which is a roundhouse kick. Love it.
It was an honor to be defeated by you.
My time is passing, but your time approaches swiftly.
You truly impress, Papaneeks. It seems certain that the path of the monk is indeed the path for you. In such a short time, you have shown me that you have the potential to be a great monk. The training grounds are behind you, but now you must prove yourself by facing a far greater challenge, one that none of my students have accomplished. I want you to return Huo, the spirit of fire, to the Temple of 5 Dawns. My 2 other gifted students will help you in this task. The first is Asa Cloudsinger. Seek her out at the pool to the west.
Gosh, I love this place. So you want an idea of what Pandaren culture is like? Here's one of the ways I can sum up Pandaren culture. There is a Pandaren assigned the job of just wandering around and lighting the lamps when it gets dark at night. That's Pandaren society in a nutshell right there.
You are most welcome.
Whoever said they'd rather light a candle than curse the darkness, well, they probably haven't lit as many candles as me.
May the red crane live forever.
Some have, when they talk about how, you
are departing so soon? I am envious of your prowess, monk. Good luck to you.
Some have talked about Pandaren society in terms of like how it is in comparison to the things that we have to deal with in the rest of Azeroth. Like that there is a certain, small scale innocence or naivete about Pandaren culture. Like I think there's a phrase that some have used to try and apply where it's like it's easy to be a saint in paradise. Like they deal with a lot of very small scale types of issues and problems and crimes.
Shh, come quietly. She is practicing.
Yeah, that's Ace over there. We will be seeing quite a bit for later on. But anyways, yeah, a lot of people, like you think about the problems that Pandarens usually have to deal with compared to the problems we've had to deal with, say, over the past few expansions, just as an example. Even going back to Vanilla. Let's see, in Vanilla we had to deal with Ragnaros, we had to deal with Nefarian, Cthulhu, one of the old gods. In Burning Crusade we had to deal with the stuff in Outland, as well as Kill Jaden and the Burning Legion. I'm not even counting the stuff with Illidan. That's that's like an anomaly. In Wrath, we had to deal with the Scourge and the Lich King. Oh, and Yogg-Saron, another of the old gods. In Cataclysm, we had to deal with the Twilight's Hammer, as well as Deathwing trying to literally break the world in half. And here, they deal with such minor, small, scale things like, having a group like the Shadowpan deal with the occasional Hosen for doing things such as, oh, they ruined my crops. Things like that. Just such small scale kinds of problems and crimes and issues compared to the much larger, problems that we deal with in the rest of the world.
Welcome.
I came to ask the famous Asa Cloudsinger for help, but I just can't bring myself to intrude on her exercises. She's so poised, so practiced, so beautiful. You came for Asa? You really shouldn't interrupt her until she finishes her exercises. She doesn't speak to anyone until her routine is done. In the meantime, could you maybe help me? I had some bad luck with forest sprites. Amberleaf scamps swarmed my cart and stole most of the training supplies that I was bringing up to the training grounds. They've always been troublemakers, but they have never been this aggressive before. I don't know what happened. Please, help me recover my supplies. My driver went off after the sprites just after they attacked. I don't think they will really do him any harm, but I need him back to help me clean up the mess by the cart. He chased them off towards the cliffs to the north. If you head that direction, you should find him quickly.
There is no...
Hold on real quick. Let me go ahead and sell some of these things just to help clear out my bags a bit.
May the mist
Thank
protect
you. But of course. So I guess I should also explain the other Pandaren monk that you guys probably saw on the server, character selection screen at the beginning of this video. So I mentioned how we are not part of either the Alliance or the Horde right now. We are neutral. At the end of this starting zone, we will actually get the option to choose which faction we join. What's funny is that they were actually going to let it be that we would not have to choose which faction. They were actually going to let us just simply stay a neutral third faction. I know, right? What an idea. What a concept. Could you believe... I'm serious when I say they were actually going to do this. But then they changed their minds, probably because of PvP or whatever. Ugh. And let's just say that there are some of us that wish they had just simply stuck that decision so that we wouldn't have to be stuck to one faction or the other. So, those of us who are a little tired of the whole faction war thing. So, and I'll emphasize that and show that by the end of this, because as I said, we get to choose which one we join by the end of the starting zone. So I wanted to actually try and have a shot at showing you guys both results of that. What happens when you choose either one? Because when you choose, you get sent to the capital city of either, whatever faction you choose, and you meet the leader, who then gives you a speech. And back then, this was at the beginning of, Miss Pandaria, it was still Varian and Garrosh as the leaders, and they were the ones who would give you the speeches. And as far as I know, that is actually still in the game when you take your Pandaren to the capital city. So I wanted to actually go ahead and show both. So earlier today, I made another Pandaren monk. I went through the starting zone. Plus, it was also gave me an opportunity to just kind of test going through this, just for to see how it was going to do, how it flows, reminding myself what to do. And so I've set it up where that other Pandaren monk is right at the moment where you get to choose the faction. So that way I can just quickly switch back, show you the other faction I don't choose with this guy, and be able to show you both sides, because I wanted to show them off. So that's why you guys saw that. So, but could you imagine if they had actually stuck to their guns and just simply let us not have to be on one of the factions? I'm telling you, there are plenty of people that wish they had let us do that. But, whatever.
I need to get closer.
Oh, there's the driver. Get out of here.
Look out! Its fences are coming!
Ah, Master Sheng has trained you well. Thank you, friend. I couldn't have fought them off alone. Now, if you will excuse me, I should go find my cart. Cart! Wait. Are you really trying to... Cart! Are you actually trying to... Why are you calling out for your cart as if it's going to, respond to you? Hello, cart. Still upside down, I see.
Hello.
His name is, by the way, Min Dimwind. Yeah. Now, I know some people will see that, and they all think, oh, Blizzard's being all childish and ridiculous, and,
A challenge in compassion and humility. By helping Merchant Lorvo, it would seem you have passed. Master Sheng would be pleased.
So yeah, this is Asa. You probably are familiar with her at this point. But yeah, that's another thing I've heard people criticize about Pandaria, is that they thought it was Blizzard getting very childish, doing things that, they're doing these childish, ridiculous things, they're not taking it seriously, and, they actually tried to use that as a criticism against this. And to, my only thought, my thought to that is, why would you take every single thing in this incredibly seriously? There's a lot of, dark stuff in this game, and even in this expansion, especially when we get to the, the stuff with the Shaws, but the idea of always taking everything so incredibly dark, serious, and depressing, just, I don't know how people could be able to handle that. You have to have light-hearted, things, from time to time, humorous things, that are, just warm and light, and Pandaria was an excellent example of that. And I cannot, if you were always constantly taking everything so seriously, do you realize how exhausting that would be for some people, how much that would wear people out? Just, no. To me, that's just not a valid criticism. You have to have some lighthearted stuff in between, otherwise it just gets very, very much.
Tell me of your travels.
You needn't worry about hurting the sprites. They're really just living plants when it comes down to it, and they will resprout later. Thank you. You are an honorable monk, and they have taught you well. You are too kind, monk.
Jade Serpent.
Hey, we got a bag. Hello, Asa.
In time, all answers become clear.
It is a pleasure to meet you, monk. I am Asa of the Tushui. I have spent much time and thought since Master Shang told me that we would be searching for Huo, the spirit of fire. I know where he resides, but not how to reach him. The answers are close, however. Come with me to the cave of meditation nearby. It is a place of great wisdom. I will meditate there, open my mind, and the path shall find us.
Meet me up in the cave if you would, friend.
You will also notice that there is quite a bit of voice acting in the Starting Zone. By the time they got to Pandaria, they were really trying to up the quality of the amount of voice acting in this game. So, yeah, there's going to be quite a bit of voice acting here, so...
Keep those creatures at bay while I meditate. We'll soon have the answers we seek.
Master Li Fei. The way of the Tushui. Enlightenment through patience and meditation. The principle of life. It is good to see you again, Asa. You have come with respect. And so I shall give you the answers you seek. The way of the Tushui. Principled life. Huo, the spirit of fire, is known for his hunger. He wants for tinder to eat. He needs the caress of the wind to rouse him. If you find these things and bring them to his cave, on the far side of Wusong village, you will face a challenge within. Overcome that challenge, and you shall be graced by Huo's presence. Rekindle his flame, and if your spirit is pure, he shall follow you. If you find these things and bring them to his... Oh, pfft. Go, children. We shall meet again very soon.
Gosh, this just starts to stack with more players.
I need to target something first. I am out of range. I need a target. I do not have a target.
And so our path lays before us. Speak to Master Shangzi. He will tell you what comes next.
Master?
Where you pass, greatness follows.
Your path is set before you. You will be the one to rekindle the spirit of fire and bring it to safety, to the safety of the temple. This will not be the only time that you and Asa work together. She is strong and wise. You can trust in her. Another of my most talented students is awaiting you in Wusong village to the northwest. He is of a different mind than Asa, but in their differences, they bring balance to each other. G. Firepaw will instruct you on gathering the offerings for the spirit of fire. Trust in his wisdom.
Yep. My man, G Firepaw. So if it's not obvious at this point, I'll go ahead and point it out. Asa and the two Shui become the Pandaren faction that joins the Alliance, and G and the Hojin, or Hujin, however it's pronounced, they're the Pandaren faction that joins the Horde. So, and the colors kind of help give this off. The two Shui are dressed in blue, and the Hojin are dressed in red. So, hey, Pandaren Mage. I should also point out that the Pandaren have a good number of class selections. Like Mage, Shaman. You cannot be a Pandaren Druid. As of Shadowlands, if you pre-order Shadowlands, you can now make a Pandaren Death Knight. Now, in lore, there actually did used to be one single Pandaren Death Knight, even going back to BC and Wrath. Because in lore, there actually was a Pandaren woman, because, as I said, the Pandaren had been established in the lore of the game and the setting for a long time. It was just never, like, fully on screen, other than when Chen was in Warcraft 3. That was, like, the first and only big time that a Pandaren was actually on camera, even though they have been around for quite some time. But there was a Pandaren woman from the Wandering Isle who was in, like, the Lordaeron area at the time of Warcraft 3, and she sadly was, well, one of the victims by the Scourge, and then later became a Death Knight. Well, not Death Knight. Actually, no, I take that back. She was a Death Knight. She's the one only Pandaren that was brought back as a Death Knight. But now, many others can.
Monkey butt.
Nice insult, G. Monkey butt. Yes, these are the Hosen. I like the Hosen, by the way. They are absolutely amazing in that area. So, by the way, we now have roll. Oh. Oh, I love that. Of course, later on we can change it to Chi Torpedo, which is awesome. But yeah, G is awesome, and recently in the Shadows Rising book, he actually got a spotlight. Yeah! He actually got remembered that he exists, because the thing is, he's been left out of a lot of content outside of Pandaria and the Siege of Orgrimmar, and then, of course, getting, a cameo along with Asa in Legion. Plus, he's also been the guy you go talk to at the embassy here in BFA to be able to do the allied race quests and such, since the changes they made in 8.3. However, in the Shadows Rising book, the author, talked about how, I saw in an interview that she had with Noble, how she really likes the Pandarens and also wanted to give G some time in the spotlight in the book. So he actually got to, hang around with Thrall for a period of time in the book, and they actually reminded people that he is a master monk, because he actually got to show off his skills as a monk in the book, which was awesome.
It's good to see you.
Hello, you look poised and confident. I like that. I've heard some rather impressive whispers about you from the training grounds. If you're half as capable as they say, I think you and I are going to be good friends. We call those vicious monkeys swinging into town Hosen. They keep to themselves normally, but they know something bad is coming. Speaking of which, hold on a second. Do you mind? We are talking here, Hosen. So they are here to steal our supplies. In situations like this, the clear answer is the only answer is the only answer. These monkeys will leave when we force them to leave. To not defend our town and those we love would be the only true crime. Thus is the way of the Hojin. Yeah, you can kind of see how some of the philosophy and mentality of the Hojin and Tushui are supposed to basically reflect similarities between the Alliance and the Horde. And this is part of the slanted writing that Blizzard is guilty of sometimes here in Warcraft. They will have this tendency to try and make it where the Horde is all about action first and screw the consequences. Forget about thinking. Let's just act. Whereas the Alliance is very patient and thoughtful. They actually will consider consequences and thinking about things, considering results and all that, compared to the Horde, which does not. I mean, that's such a there's so much more to both of those factions than those particular things. But again, slanted writing, and just at times is really, Blizz, really.
But yeah, the Hosen, by the way, these are not just monkeys. These are monkey people. They're which at that, we're in Warcraft, it's like, yeah, and I only point that out because some people forget that these are actually people, like sentient sapient beings. These are not just animals. We interact with plenty of Hosen throughout our time in Pandaria, including the Monkey King, who is an awesome character. Even though his constant rhyming can get a little, like, grating at times, where you're just like, oh my gosh, will you please stop rhyming? But I still love the Monkey King and the rest of the there are some Hosen characters that are just wonderful. I love the Hosen characters, but then again, there are so many characters in Pandaria that are both whether they be Pandarens or Hosen, that I just absolutely loved in Pandaria. You've got some fight in you. I think I like you. Strange thing about wind, it can be hard to wrap your hands around it. Best practice for me has been finding some sort of living wind. If it can punch you, you can punch it back, and it won't slip through your grasp. Head over to the Shrine of the Summer Breeze to the south and summon just such a living wind using this windstone. Best it, gather a fluttering breeze from it, and come back over this way so that we may figure out what's next. Now that that's done with, let's get to it then. Huo, the spirit of fire, hungers for dry dogwood root kindling. It grows among the trees south of the village. It should be enough for you to gather some. Actually, I'm going to put that right here. Yes, there we go. Huo! I was about to use Quaking Palm on him. Like that. Oh, now you're asleep, so I can gather my wood. Oh, very well. I wanted to spare you, but if you insist... All right, let us see. Living air!
I need to get closer.
A fluttering breeze. By the way, it's also appropriate to not just play a Pandaren monk, but also a Pandaren shaman. Because monks, the power that monks use is basically a form of shamanism. So there are similarities between monks and shamans.
I'm with you.
When opportunity arises, it is our responsibility to reach out and grab it. Second guessing is as good as giving up. You know what it is to seize opportunity. I think you and I are kindred spirits, Papaneeks. I hope you're not shy about getting your hands dirty. Papaneeks, you've returned, roots in hand. You're a down-to-business kind of guy, aren't you? I like that. Master?
It is good to see you, my student.
You have done very well this far, my student. You have the materials you need to rekindle Ho, the spirit of fire. In the cave to the southwest he awaits, but he is guarded by Master Li Fei, the Pandaren elder you met in the Cave of Meditation. Go to Master Li Fei with the offerings, prove yourself, and then meet with Huo. Level 6.
You know, I imagine if I had gotten these rings, I would be leveling up even faster. But I'm telling you guys, I tried, and I just could not be able to get them. Well, right now it looks like it's just this one ring. Was it just one ring? Or I thought it was 2. You know, I do find myself wondering about those other trinkets. Like, how much more effective are those other trinkets? The thing is, I can't... You know, some of those cost 75 medals. The fire spirit is upset. It's dangerous to enter the shrine now. I could technically go purchase some. The thing is, I'm trying to save up to use those service medals to get a mount, so... Master Leaf, eh?
What wisdom do you seek?
Life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. There is a path before you, but you choose the trials that you will face and the trials that you will overcome. You're strong of mind and strong of will, but you lack the skills to face me in combat. You must fight with your body, but in truth, it is your character that is being tested. Let us even the playing field. Take this torch, light it in the brazier next to me, and then use it to light the 3 unlit braziers around the pool.
May you find mastery in your passions.
Notice that each one is actually a different color. And that will, there will be a reason for that in just a moment. Because they each represent something.
You have the eyes of one who has traveled much.
These fires will give you the strength that you have not yet obtained. They will illuminate your potential. It is time for you to face me. With these 3 fires illuminating your potential, we will see with certainty whether your resolved soul is truly worthy of passing.
Family, friends.
Ah! So now we get 3 separate buffs. Blessing of the Blue Flame, which is increases our mana regen significantly, even though it doesn't apply to a Windwalker. Blessing of the Purple Flame, which increases our damage significantly, and the Red Flame increases our health and health regen. So
It is too far.
let us go.
I am out of range.
You have earned the right to proceed. Huo lies beyond.
Tell me of your travels.
Remember always, the superior warrior is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions.
Gee, I wish a lot of modern, a lot of players that play this game remembered that. That's not about how much you talk, it's about how, letting your actions speak for you.
You are worthy of passing, monk. Huo, the spirit of fire, rests in the chamber beyond. Let him feast upon the kindling you have gathered, and use the wind to fan his flames. Doing so should endear you to him. Once he is ignited, if he is willing, lead him to the Temple of 5 Dawns. The building is standing high in the center of the island.
Slow down. Life is to be savored.
You may not have caught it at the end, but, he said one of my favorite things I hear Pandaren say, which is,
Slow down. Life is to be savored.
like I said, a lot of the things Pandaren say, you may, think that's stuff that comes out like a fortune cookie or whatever, but I just like it, It's just little pearls of wisdom that I think at times some of us need to be reminded about, so.
Isn't he cute?
In fact, hold on a second. There. I have my own. The Spirit of Spring. The Spirit of the Spring. That's kind of how they talk. And these ancient spirits, they have a certain kind of innocence and naivete to them, which is kind of adorable. Through the glare, it looks like Huo is smiling. He seems to have warmed up to you. Wah, wah. Huo bounces around excitedly, ready to follow you. Master Shang-Chi told you to bring Huo to meet him at the Temple of Five Dawns in the center of the island. Your next destination lies before you. So now he will follow us, and he now gives us a running buff, which is Blessing of Huo. His presence grants you faster movement speed. Now we can be able to run even faster. Make our way to the temple. I am the Flash. Huo. Huo. And there's the temple. Is that Huo? It is. Well done, Papaneeks.
Welcome, Hyo. The people have missed your...
Or Huo. Goes into the little lantern and reignites the flames in here. Nice little touch. So we finally get our first inn here.
Our greatest trials yet lay before us.
Papaneeks, you have done very well. Huo, the spirit of fire, is here. The temple flames are reignited. You accomplished the challenge that I put before you, and with seeming ease. There is a greater purpose in bringing Huo to the temple. It is time that I tell you more of things to come.
You have conquered every challenge I put before you. You have found Hyo and brought him safely to the temple. There is a much larger problem we face now, my students. Shenzin Su is in pain. If we do not act, the very land on which we stand could die. And all of us with it. We need to speak to Shenzin Su and discover how to heal it. And to do that, we need the 4 elemental spirits returned. Hyo was the first. Ji, I would like you to go to the Dailo farmstead in search of Wu Gao, the spirit of Earth.
On it!
Asa, I want you to go to the singing pools to find Shu, the spirit of water.
Yes, Master.
And you shall be the hand that guides us all. Speak with me for a moment before you join Asa at the singing pools to the east. Forget injuries. Never forget kindnesses.
It is crucial that we bring all of the 3 remaining spirits back safely. I am too old to do this myself, and for all their strengths, both Asa and Ji are single-minded in their ideals. You possess all the qualities of a hero, and a balance that they do not. It is you that must do this. Shu, the spirit of water, is somewhere in the singing pools to the east. Find Asa there, and work with her to locate him. We are all depending on you.
So this is a little shrine to Liu Lang as well as Shenzhen Su to represent when they started many, many years ago by leaving Pandaria to basically become, the Wandering Isle.
Every horizon is a treasure chest, every blank map a story waiting to be told. The first Pandaren explorer, Liu Lang, disembarked from the mainland on the back of the great turtle Shenzhen Su. His discoveries proved that the rest of the world had survived the Sundering. He would return to Pandaria every 5 years, gathering more wanderers and explorers with each visit, until his death at the age of 122. The turtle Shenzhen Su has not returned to Pandaria since.
So, we will be heading out to help out G and Asa, and notice how he said they are both single-minded in their, views and perspectives and approaches. Does that sound familiar? Obviously, the symbolism and the parallels, there was a lot of symbolism and such throughout this. There were also some great moments from speeches involving certain people about the war during this expansion. But anyways, that's more so in the actual main meat of the Pandaria expansion, which takes place in Pandaria, not here in the Wandering Isles. But we'll be helping them out with the other spirits when we return. Stay tuned.